Joe presents Boys Don't Cry with me, Russell Kane, together with ASOS. Welcome to Boys Don't Cry with me, Russell Kane, brought to you by Joe, together with our friends at ASOS. Hello, Muscle Fit Tracksuit. The guest today, stand-up comedian Tom Lucy, TV and radio presenter Connor Phillips, and model and TV presenter AJ Odudu.
Hi.
Hi.
For those of you who might be new to the podcast, go away. I can't bear people that come in at the last minute. Only people that are already aware are welcome. Everyone else, fuck off. No, only joking. Boys Don't Cry, what's it about? Well, I originally set this up thinking, wouldn't it be great if there was a space for men to talk about the things men wouldn't normally talk about? Men only have two options. One, cuddly cardigan, men's group beard, let's talk about our mental health. Or, tits out for the lads. I thought, wouldn't it be nice if there was something in between where there's a little bit of banter, a little bit of spikiness, but it was a safe space to share. That's all I thought. Obviously, making sure we have a female auditor to make sure we're not making sexist assumptions about women that aren't true. Little did I know, it's turned into a place for nosy women to put their ear against the keyhole. So many girls listen to this show because the girl them, they want to hear what we have to say.
Yes.
Why did my ex-boyfriend like my sister's pictures on Instagram? Why? The answer, we just like looking at boobies and it makes our willies feel nice. Sometimes that is the answer. It's just a pervy answer. I just looked at boobs, there is no mystery. But other times there is a mystery to be.
I've learnt loads. We're
only a couple of seconds in, and now we're straight into it there, aren't we?
Well, like AJ is on the dating scene at the moment, so she's even more primed to give us insights in what she thinks.
Is that the right term to use? Prime
to give us insights. Not prime to mate, Connor. Prime to give us insight. I didn't mean she was like with her bum in the air going, gentlemen, I'm courting. I meant primed to give insight because you're seeing men at their rawest.
Yes, I am.
At their most questing, at their most cynical, at their most come back to mind.
Primal.
Yeah, primal.
At the most come back to mind.
You know what they're like.
It's still not happened. I do know what they're like.
How's it going? How's it going out in the field? Because these are three attached men.
No, right.
You are attached, aren't you?
No.
Oh, no, hang on. Sorry. Excuse me, Tom. Excuse me, Tom.
Oh, so Tom's a
We're
bit.
both out on the courting scene.
We're going to take a short interval while Tom and AJ go on a speed date.
Are you primed? Primed? Yeah.
Primed to give insights.
So.
Are you dating, though? Are you putting yourself out there, going out on dates, seeing what happens? It's hard when you're a stand-up, isn't it? We're socially retarded.
It's difficult doing stand-up, I think, because you're never free in the evenings.
But are you surrounded by hundreds of girls every single evening?
You've seen me out. Yeah, it's mental.
Tom's like me. Everyone thinks we're gay. You have to spend 20 minutes convincing a girl. Look, I do love the pum-pum. Why won't you believe me?
Yeah.
Like how into the pum-pum I am.
It's one thing because people think because you're on stage doing that you get a lot of attention.
Yeah,
but if you're like me and Russell, where you're quite camp, it sort of has the opposite effect.
But does that not have the safety effect?
No, some girls are scared of a guy that can have a conversation because they're not used to it. They're used to, is the dessert finished? Can I get an Uber? Will you touch my penis? That is the standard, isn't it? Let's face it, AJ. Variations of, I bought you dinner, please touch my willy.
Yeah, there's variations of that.
So when you get a guy that's like, yeah, I knew we could go back, but I just want to discuss my feelings a little bit more.
Yeah.
It can be off-putting to women that aren't used to that, right, Tom?
Sure, yeah. Is that the sort of guys you're going out on dates with?
Guys,
Come on, AJ.
I'm not going out on dates. And also, why is it that every single time I am on this damn podcast, my love life is just out there again? I was like, no, I'm going to come on. I'm not going to talk about it. And now,
off your own back. Now, when I first met you, it was the first conversation you had was about your dating life.
Yeah, to you guys, not to
I think
that was a research chat. I should have been clear.
Because you said earlier that you find that guys don't really ask you out very often.
Yeah.
But I think I think you must be quite intimidating to ask out.
Why do you say that? Tell me.
Because, like model, and I think from a lot of guys that would be, it's quite...
Tom fancies you. My mate fancies you. Was that too mature?
I just think that, I think that might be what the problem is.
Well, we had a whole episode on height, and we realised there was a lot more behind it because you're a tall girl, aren't you? How tall are you, AJ?
I'm not that tall.
No,
I'm 5'7".
You're 5'7", yeah, but to midgets like me, I'm 5'10", the average UK height. You know, some guys are intimidated by statuesque beauty. It's not a bad thing, AJ. You got to be aware of the effect your goddess like demeanour has on men, like
Thank
me.
You. I'm
been
quite
obsessed for some
bold.
time. Been following you.
Quite, I am quite out there. And I think, do you know what? My problem is sometimes I genuinely I friend zone myself. I don't presume that anyone fancies me or anything like that.
Awful.
So I just, I mean, unless you're like explicitly saying, look, AJ, I really like you and I want to take you out.
Yeah.
We can swap seats if you want.
It just never happened.
Well, that's quite a bold thing to...
Do you know, it's not a bad link into what we're going to talk about today because, Tom, how old are you, if you don't mind sharing?
22.
22, right? So someone who is 22 may well have a different approach to someone who is 52, 62, 72, whatever the age is. The different generations seem to have different approaches to going up to a girl and saying, excuse me, I like you. Now, we did a Boys Don't Cry about how there's a generation of men coming through who are a little bit freaked out by the prospect of even going up to a girl and saying, excuse me, I fancy you. What, she feels threatened by me saying that, do you know what, I'll just die a virgin in the loft. It's easier than becoming a hashtag. So we'd like to talk about generational masculinity today, and I'd like to kick it off with, I did a gig last night. I won't say where, I won't say what industry. Let's just say it's quite a manly industry. And something happened to me last night on stage, which has never happened before.
Round of applause.
And yeah, thank you, Connor. I did stand up as normal, hosting awards as normal. Halfway through the night, this guy worked for in the sort of manual labouring industry. One company won. They're all standing in the middle of the stage having the photo. And a gentleman from the company that didn't win joined the end of the chain, waving as though he was part of the winners group. It wasn't. It was his excuse to get on stage near me.
Right.
Came towards me, arms open. Russell, this is for Blogs Limited, with open arms but closed fists. At the last moment, changed it, swung his torso, full fucking right hook coming with meat fists towards my face, 100 miles an hour, 16 stone
Oh my God.
unit. I did full like Wing Chun master. I was like, I don't think so. Right? And it just hit my ear. Like I got like a
Oh my God.
carpet burn on the ear. He then came up with the left hook and fell off stage, thank God, before he could hit me with this uppercut blow. But my reaction was, and I'm really ashamed of my reaction, I found exciting, invigorating. Part of me enjoyed it. I finished my gig, everyone was laughing, and afterwards I went upstairs, watched Creed 2, and I had one of the best night's sleep I've ever had. Now, if I'd been a 21-year-old guy, would I have had a different reaction? Am I just hardened by the stuff I've seen? And this guy was definitely an older alpha male silverback.
Do you know
I'm not
why?
like the host, looks a bit like Nick Grimshaw, I'm going to knock him out.
Do you know why he
No,
went for you?
we have no idea. It's either sort of Kanye stage invasion. My company didn't win. I'm going to knock out the host for a laugh. Or I've said something in the stand-up which provoked him.
So what age was he roughly?
He looked like he was knocking between 40 and 50.
Right.
Well, this is what I was going to say, because I think,
couldn't imagine.
essentially, when it comes to being violent and being really reactive and stuff like that, there's been periods in my life where my reaction is, more aggressive. It's on the aggressive side. I shout, I kick, I scream, and all of that jazz. And, girls in school, your fight is you pull each other's hair. Now that I'm 31, I can have an argument with someone and it doesn't need to result in something violent. And I put that down to maturity. You learn how to handle situations. However, this guy who went to attack you, that's not very adult-like, so you just don't know.
Across the board with stand-up, I've seen it a few times with another comedian, very prominent. It's only ever been silver-haired men of a certain age. I've never seen a bloke under 25 go up on stage. The most famous one, probably Jim Jeffries getting clouted, and that guy was definitely way into his 30s, nearly 40s. So there seems to be, I'm not saying young guys don't go out and get drunk and have a fight when they're in Ayia Napa. But this brazen silverback, proud to knock someone out in front of people, that seems to be dying out, or am I just being romantic?
Do you find this weird thing, like with stand-up? I've noticed this where sometimes you get men of that age in audiences who, for whatever reason, get angry that are young guys on stage doing stand-up. It makes them, they get angry about it and they feel quite defensive.
Status.
Yes, it's like a status thing.
I've seen it as well. I've hosted some events and I've hosted stand-up events, and I've seen it as well, because the alpha male, and I don't know about this individual you're talking about, the alpha male in itself is often the centre of the friend group.
Yeah.
He's often the bloke who makes people laugh. He's often the person who, obviously, I've got a bet here, I'm going to go up on stage and I'm going to knock Russell Kane.
Yeah.
So he then potentially is feeling threatened by the fact that you can get the laugh.
Yeah.
you're making his mates laugh harder than
That's
he can.
true, yeah.
So just to bring a cultural perspective to it, Connor, because you come from one of the places with the biggest jump in generations. If we look from Good Friday Agreement to now, exactly 20 years, this generation of young men coming through when you go home, is there a sort of disinclination to being violent? Or is it when you see these brooding old Ulstermen in their 50s who secretly still like to go out with a nail bat and kick it off?
No,
again?
there's been a massive cultural change. People are, and you see it as well, specifically actually with young women. There are more young women politicians coming up.
Yeah.
From early 20s, you look at the main, I don't want to talk about political parties in Northern Ireland, but you look at the main political parties, they're led by women. Men then...
Irish mums of all, North and South, are terrifying though, aren't they?
Completely.
They're going to do as they say.
Absolutely.
Irish mammy.
An Irish mammy.
An Irish mammy.
I always say, aren't you an Irish mum you don't want on your side, because she'll just kill everyone in the room.
And then everyone in there.
broken wooden spoons strewn around the house. But I've seen this sort of dispersion of violence and aggression, and it is one of the reasons that it's like, you go out in Belfast at the moment, you won't be able to pick out people from where they're from or what background they're from unless they point it out to you. And without being disparaging, the people you're talking about, the 50-year-old man with the tattoos that attacked you, the version of them, I'll know where they're from, and I'll know their sort of raison d'etre, what they want to do and what point they want to get across.
So AJ, it's brilliant. I won't be so ungentlemanly as to state your age, but let's just say you're in a good position because you could quite easily date a guy in his 20s or a guy in his 40s or 50s. Your dating range is quite wide. So my question to you is, A, would you date a younger man, a gentleman Tom's age, and
Is this
no, but what differences? What differences?
Swapping seats. So
Immaturity aside, like to go away with him might be immature. Let's just put that aside.
Yeah.
What differences would you expect if you went out with a guy who's 42, and or a guy that's 22? What would you expect stereotypically in your experience to be the difference?
In my experience, okay, so basically, because I've got 5 brothers and they're all a very, a variety of ages. I've got a little brother who's 23,
right,
and then I've got, a big brother who's 43,
oh, right,
and so on.
Wow.
And so as a result, I guess I'm not so dismissive to the younger man. Because, me and my little brother get on really well. Me and my little brother's mates get on really well. And as a result, I'm just used to hanging out with younger people.
You've been growing them in the nursery, waiting for them to ripen. Have a little look in the incubator. It's nearly ready.
in saying that, right? Do your brother's mates? Does he share with you what they say about you behind your back?
No. So basically, my older brothers, they have said to me in the past that, oh yeah, like this guy fancied you or whatever, but you just put a stop to it. So the older brothers of mine they're not hooking me up with anyone. Meanwhile, my little brother, he's quite funny because I remember saying to him, just couldn't go out with anyone younger. Not because I feel a certain way about them, but I feel that, at the age of 24, for example, I used to think, 30 is so old. Like, that is an older person. So I just thought that's naturally what, 22-year-old guys think of me as a 31-year-old woman. So I'm not necessarily avoiding them for any reason. But it's interesting because that day that I was talking about the other day.
You haven't spoken about it yet in our reality.
In our reality, we've not talked about it. So
set this up a little bit.
But behind closed doors, we talked about it. Essentially, I went on a date, first date in a while, with a younger guy.
Ah.
And
how old was he?
Not that much younger, no. 28.
No.
But he did say something, and I remember thinking, as if...
What's your favourite Pokemon? He said, don't move. Why do you think I'm beautiful? No, there's a Pikachu right behind you. No, go on.
But he said his usual type is older women, and I thought...
No, you don't want to hear that
you
word.
You can't...
Older women.
Don't put me in the older woman category.
He's talking about you.
No, I don't think he was. Well, I'm not sure. I don't know what
it's a weird thing. It's probably not meant as an insult. He might have been trying to put your mind at rest, but it's come out a bit like he's gone into that room in The Shining where that lady's in the bath. Come in, dearie.
Exactly. So again,
What did
it's
you
just
say to
down
that?
to, I just was like, all right, okay. Cool. So I
Yeah.
guess that this
So-
age is all right. But he was saying that I'm like the youngest woman he's been out with in recent times.
So come on. So you know the
Blah,
rules
blah.
are coming on here, Tom. Don't shy away from honesty.
Yeah.
So take it all your friends are around your age, 20. Are your friends 21, 22 or 22, 23? Because it does make a difference.
22, 23 probably. Yeah.
And what's the banter, the thought in the area of you're going to date a woman that would be older than you by a decade? It's not like, well, it's just something that's not discussed. It's a blank area. Yeah, everyone
Well, I don't really
has
know. None of my mates are dating anyone like much older. Maybe like 24, 25 would be the oldest. So not much older at all.
Yeah.
But I feel actually quite different to my mates because I didn't go to university and I've been doing stand-up
So you feel older.
since I was 16. So like you said earlier, you've always thought of me as like 30 years old.
Yeah.
Because I feel much older than all my mates because I've been sort of working and doing stand-up since I was like 16. And stand-up is like a really adult industry. Like you said, like that shit last night.
That grows you up quick.
Yeah, like you grow up quickly doing stand-up because
Yeah.
you're just in a room with a load of
People-
drunk men.
Yeah.
So I feel different to my mates in that sense.
Okay, so I'm not getting any answer. So I'll go first then. So I when I was 20, I was seeing this girl that was 30 just a few times.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. She also
Yeah.
lived with a girl at the same time, which was like, a double jackpot.
God.
And the stereotype
Yeah.
amongst my friends at the time was that if you go out with an older woman, she's going to be really sexually confident. She's going to know what she wants. She's going to eat you alive in the bedroom. She's going to have a bit of income and look after you at the same time. And she's going to look at you like this younger stud. There we are. I've said it. That's the stereotype that goes around amongst younger members.
I have a friend of mine who had a complete and utter sexual awakening with an older lady. She was maybe 12 years older than him.
Really?
What
Completely.
happened?
I don't want to give too many details away, but he's just got a complete another sexual awakening, and
Right.
it changed.
When you say awakening, what do you mean?
Yeah, awakening
I mean,
is
this is not a show for euphemisms,
yeah,
Connor.
well, I mean, you know, everything from there's a certain age when things like sex toys mean nothing to you. Like,
Yeah.
like someone shows you a sex toy and you go,
I
what
used to
is
think
that?
sex toy was jizzing on Buzz Lightyear, but it wasn't.
Exactly, to infinity and beyond. And simple things like that, and
Well, I'll be honest. That's the whole sex toy thing is not like me and my mates have got nothing. Like 22 is not an age really where you're involved in that world.
Yeah.
Do you mean sex toys
think
for
you
women
think
or sex?
that.
Well, hang on a second. Do you mean you're not aware of women and their relationships
No,
with
I'm
these
aware
devices?
that women use them,
Yeah.
but no one I know uses
Them with their
sex.
girlfriends?
No, not at 22. I don't
this was
think.
this was the awakening to a friend of mine.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's
I
been
can see that
it's
happening.
been like here are all the toys, and he's like, what? Where do they even go?
Yeah.
What?
I bet by the end of the session she looked like a game of Kaplunk.
Pop up pirate. Do you remember that?
It's just, damn it, we'll have to start again. The ear hole just wasn't a good choice. Right, so I wasn't aware that was a thing. That
No.
younger men have this kind of, well, I know sex toys exist, but I don't want to think about... like,
And
women-
confidence as well. Now, sex toys aside, the confidence that older women have and carry themselves with is...
Yeah, well, I think that this confidence is a lot to do with
But
sex toys.
is that
isn't it?
intimidating or attractive to a
No.
guy?
Don't you
What?
think?
AJ's going, that reminds me, I need some more Duracell.
There's a box of them under here.
Just done it.
No, I'm saying, is it intimidating? To me, it was exciting. I was seeing this girl, and to me, the idea that she had all this experience was exciting to me. But it might not be that way for every guy.
I was the other way around. I dated younger girls, 5 or 6, 7 years younger than me, and that really excited me until you were thinking about, okay, long term. You're
Yeah.
thinking that potentially this could be girlfriend material, and then you're not having much of a conversation, and you're not having much of a relationship in inverted commas.
So now we're reversing it. So does it work the other way round, AJ? The
Yeah.
guy that's 10 years older than you, let's be real now.
Right.
Let's look at the statistics. Almost every society, certainly in our society, girls date older men. There's a massive age gap between me and Lindsay. I've always dated girls younger than me, not by choice. They're the only girls I could attract. When I started doing this business and I could finally attract women, as opposed to having to slave away for 6 months to get a girl to touch my knob. I could only attract women younger. No matter how hard I tried, I could not get a girl close to my age out on a date because they was just like, you think I'm going to date someone just because of what you do for a living? So I ended up having to date younger girls out of necessity. But my experience was the same as a lot of guys who are older than girls. That seems to be what they're looking for. Why? Why do girls want these silverback older men or just more experienced men? I'm hardly a silverback.
Well, I think what it is essentially why I've tended to go for older guys is because, you know, I'm definitely not going to like sit here and lie and be like, oh, yeah, I could go out with a student. Because I can't right now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want a guy who can afford to do nice things. If I say, let's go on holiday or let's go for dinner or let's do this fun thing, I want a guy who can afford that lifestyle.
Right.
And so, as a result, as a working woman, I do.
A footballer would be 19 and have that money.
Exactly.
What does that do for you?
Exactly right.
So you would date a 19-year-old footballer?
No, because, well, maybe. I don't know. Can't be picky.
No, I'm not trying to trick you. I'm just saying there are 19-year-olds out there that are flush.
Exactly right. So what I was then going to say to that is that it's obviously not just a money thing. In my opinion, it's almost like a life experience thing. Then there's an affordability that comes with it. And, you know, as Tom was saying, when you are working in certain industries, be it a footballer or comedian, where you have had to grow up fast, footballers travel the world. Footballers are away from the families. Footballers are in a structured, like, routine. They're working guys. And as a working woman, I want that sort of, I want a guy who can, you know, exercise a little bit of focus and drive.
Let's be a little bit controversial before we go into the break. Are we hardwired? Do you think women are hardwired to be attracted to older men across the board? Yes, we can all state exceptions, but just look at the fucking statistics. I don't want them to be true. I want everyone to be getting it on whatever the age. But just looking at the numbers, there seems to be a case. There's something in our nature, at least in our society.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think so. But I think it's the coincidence that men often like to date younger girls. It feeds into that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's still seen as like a bit unusual if a guy's dating a girl who's older.
Yeah.
I think that is still seen as a bit unusual.
That's mental, isn't it?
Yeah.
2019. It's like my girlfriend's 5 years older than me. Oh.
Yeah.
It's bananas. But I think as well, what tends to happen is everyone is just really presumptuous. So a woman will think, okay, I'll go out with an older guy and he'll be more accomplished, he'll be more settled, he'd have got all of this cheating out of his system and blah, 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 blah. And then a younger guy might go out with, you know, a woman 3-4 years older, and then they'll say, oh, she'll want to settle down soon, she'll want to be sprogging out kids. And it's like, mate, who said anything about marrying you? Do you know what I mean? There's like there's a presumption that does come with dating a guy that's younger.
Never forget my favourite statistic we've ever used on any episode of Boys Don't Cry. The decade of a man's life where he's most likely to cheat in a long-term relationship is in his 70s.
Yeah.
Let that sit in your mind. One last Viagra bolt of Darwinian cheating. We'll be back in a minute with more Boys Don't Cry. But first, here's Alex Payne with something else from Joe.
Thank you very much indeed. It's just a moment or two for us to duck in and tell you about the House of Rugby. We're having a lot of fun. What are we trying to do with the show? Why should people be watching and listening? We are Tracy trying to mix everything up. This is going into another show so that people come and watch us.
Oh.
Hello, everyone. Say hello to nice people.
Right. Well, we should basically watch House of Rugby because it's unbelievable humour. We don't talk about any rugby, and we give you the inside track from people who are still actually involved in rugby, not old 60-year-olds who don't know anything.
Good. Tins, your views?
Yeah,
You've offended all the Irish. You've offended most of the clubs.
Basically, we try and offend anyone who possibly works against the English. So the Irish have been hit hard. We're just building up to the Welsh, and then we're going to finish off by fucking putting down the Scottish, yeah? And that's
Good
my
stuff.
mother-in-law as well. So,
just want to reiterate, we are a family show, despite the 30-second trail, including... There we go.
No,
you can download us via YouTube. You can as you can tell, we're a very professional outfit. You can watch us via YouTube and download us via iTunes. I hope you'll join us at some point. It's a lot of fun, really.
Boys Don't Cry is proud to be sponsored by ASOS Design. I am top to bottom ASOS, pants, socks, the works. My DNA has like ASOS written into it. If it wasn't for ASOS, I'd just be in a naked fetal position on the floor. The thought of going to a shop is like a Victorian in a hat to me. ASOS comes through the door, I wear the shit, and you send it back for free if you don't like it. Although I keep everything. You can express yourself however you want. Clothing will give you the confidence to push the boat out a bit, but not too far, but try something new. You don't have to look like me, remember. And if you do, there is counselling advice on the website. Please contact me. Mr. Grimshaw, created by ASOS and styled by you, ASOS Design. Check out the latest pieces. When did clothes become pieces? Check out the latest gear on asos.com/men. I love ASOS models. They're always like in a bad mood and thin, going like that. Okay, so we are talking about generational masculinity, silverbacks versus millennials. I thought we were going to be talking more about aggression and testosterone, but we've landed on my favourite subject, shagging and dating. I mean, if we didn't meet people and fall in love, that's the only reason we're here. So I've got no problem with that being my favourite topic. But so far as age goes, I'll tell you one thing that I think does freak a woman and a man out: sense of humour. Even if you're into some band I've never heard of and I'm 20 years older than you, because that's a few dates for me to learn what bands you like. But things that make me laugh might not be the things that make a woman who's 15 years younger than me laugh. That is a problem, isn't it? Does sense of humour, particularly in men, mature? Taking aside we're professional practitioners, Tom, but I'm talking about just the everyday humour of lads.
Well, do you think your humour has changed a lot since you were 22? I guess it probably has.
Well, we're definitely going to have to not think about ourselves here, because I do cry if I see a fart lit still. I'm sorry, I do. If Connor was to light a fart now, we'd have to take a recording break.
Forgot me later.
My humour has
and
not...
those videos of your aunties, your favourite thing in the world.
My humour has not moved on. Toilet humour, very immature. When Lindsay falls over and she's looking for sympathy, I laugh my head off. So I'm a poor example, but I'm a clown for a living. So let's try and focus on all the men in our social group.
But does your humour change outside of your professional sphere when you're just talking to a woman? Like you're on the dating scene, do you become funnier in a different way?
Tom?
I don't know if you find this, but I found that when I started doing stand-up, I sort of I felt much less pressure to be funny.
Yeah.
And that, like when I was at school, I was always like the whole time trying to be funny with everyone around me. And then when I started doing stand-up, I was like, I now have this like outlet for it.
It's like you've been milked.
I now don't have to do it.
No, it is. You've been milked.
And I can
your
like,
udder is empty.
every night I can like release the pressure, get it out, and then for the rest of the day I can be quite relaxed. But before that, I was just constantly.
It's quite a specific professional, as interesting as it is, though, Connor. I'm more interested in looking, for example, AJ. We have to use stereotypes to make these conversations work. We know there are exceptions. You take a 22-year-old guy out and you go to sit on your chair and your bum slips and you hit the floor. He's more like, oh my God, you're on the floor. Whereas an older guy might be going, oh, baby, you're right. Not try and make yourself, even though you'd be laughing and you'd want to die on the inside. Maybe an older guy wouldn't find that funny.
Well, this is what I was going to say.
That's just a silly example, but
No, but it's true, right? So what I found is that younger guys tend to have a lot more natural confidence. I think there's this like go-getter like attitude that they have. Their lives haven't been jaded by rejection yet, and they just have this attitude of just like, yeah, well, it's fine. Like if she knocks me back, it's cool. Like keep going, sort of thing. Whereas an older guy, just probably because of like mortgages and work and responsibilities, it's like I don't have time.
Kids from his other marriages.
Yeah, and kids from other marriages. It's like they don't really have time to just, I don't know, they're a bit more uptight in my experience.
Yeah, I think you, as a slightly older gentleman than you, I think you think about the things you say to the opposite sex.
Has your humour matured, Connor Phillips?
Not at all. Especially when I'm around my wife. But that's the thing I think she kind of enjoys about me. But it's the conversations. You know, when the conversations and you're trying to be funny. When you were younger, it was kind of try and be funny because, hey, here, I can make you laugh. But as you get older, you maybe replay things in your head going, did that really make her laugh? Was she just laughing at me? Am I funny? And I've always found that being funnier was always much better than being good looking or having money, specifically with women. But I think as you get older, that definitely matures.
Yeah, that's just a maturity thing, though, right? We're getting older. You just become more mature.
Yeah, but I think you freak out a bit more. You think about things an awful lot more.
Yeah, that's what I mean. There's this carefree spirit that comes with your youth because everything's new, everything's exciting, and there's nothing really holding you back.
Yeah.
You can have a go. You're a little bit more experimental.
Yeah.
I think as you get older, you do just overthink things. Everything is a bit more dramatic, and naturally, I feel like sometimes you just get a little bit less funny because you're not as loose as you used to be.
But surely humour changes. The things we laugh at, the things you might watch on Netflix, the actual substance of what makes you laugh, surely is not the same for a 50-year-old man as it is for a 20-year-old man.
You change what you show the potential partner. So if I'm watching Netflix, right, and I see something and I'm scrolling through and I see, something with Will Ferrell or something with Vince Vaughn or something with that other bloke who's also Owen Wilson, I will tend to just ignore it, park that, and go for something that would make me look a little bit more, let's just say, cultured.
So you're displaying what type of humour you think looks best rather than...
With your wife?
Well, yeah, because I know she won't watch that stuff.
Okay. It's like we're watching Derry Girls and that's it.
On repeat. But I know there are certain stuff that I can watch. But then when she's gone and I'm in the house of my own, I'll watch it on my own.
Peppa Pig, you're like, I fucking love it. I fucking love Daddy Pig. He's a fucking legend. What do you think? Have you noticed any difference, AJ, in what women laugh at? Does that change?
No. I don't know.
Do you think women are more consistent in their humour than men as they get older? Because I think... I don't agree with what you're saying. When I look at the proper generation, or the silver-haired men, our dads, they're quite sort of right-wing, quite a cruel, exclusionary sense of humour.
Yeah.
Whereas the younger the man, the more inclusive, in my experience, the humour seems to be.
Maybe, but the thing is, women have a sense of humour as well. And I guess, like, when, I'll say, I really want... my favourite kind of guy who I'm always attracted to is someone who I find absolutely hilarious, but who also finds me just jokes. Do you know what I mean?
Hashtag jokes, babe.
Jokes, do you know what I mean? And I love that. I find that so attractive.
You need banter.
So I need a little bit of back and forth. I'm not one of those women who's like, he needs to make me laugh and I'm bringing nothing to the table.
Men's humour feels, to me, I'm going to disagree with these two, like it changes more over a lifetime. You can't count professional comics in this, we're clowns.
Yeah.
But it's a bit more fart-lighting, silly, pranking when younger, into a more sophisticated humour. And whereas you're arguing that female humour is more consistent through the age.
No, I'm arguing that female humour is pretty similar to male humour.
Right, fine.
I think.
Well, let's move on.
I think there's just no difference. You'll eventually just meet your match. Like, eventually you'll find someone who also finds fart jokes funny or not. Like, I think it's not split down the middle of like male humour and female humour. I think it's just humour in general, and there's just different categories.
Do you think that sort of thing it becomes more important the longer you're with someone? So say you start dating someone, the things like having the same sense of humour, that becomes important.
Yeah, massively. Because
at the beginning, that's not that important. No, it's not that. Right?
Yeah, I just think that ultimately I want to be with someone who I just never get bored with.
Yeah.
I get more I love yous from my wife after I've made her laugh than making her dinner or making her...
What are you making her for dinner?
Mine's in Giuseppe's and Otti's. That's when I get the I love yous. Lovely shoes.
When you come home with the ASOS bag and say, here, that's for you.
Giuseppe's and Otti? I never heard of the fucker until I got rinsed on Valentine's Day.
But yet more I love yous when I've been funny. And I think that's absolutely right. I think if you make...
Okay, well, let's move on to something more provocative then. I want to talk about friends in a minute. We're going to finish by talking about friends and social groups because I do think that does change with age. But before that, let's address the rhino in the room. Horniness. If you take a 22-year-old guy out or a 42-year-old guy out, is there a greater likelihood that he's trying to get you back to his early doors at date 1 or date 2? Is that just a false stereotype? Now, having proceeded through my decades, I'm starting to think it's a load of crap that men become less randy as they get older. I mean, when does it freaking stop? When? Like, it's not chilling out for me. So is it just that older men are better at hiding it? Or is there a liberalisation amongst younger men where they're less scared to say, fucking, let's rack the numbers up? What is going on?
I think when you get older, when you're on a date, specifically with someone you get on with, I think your expectation of being nude 2 hours later is higher.
Higher?
Yeah, than when
you
were,
get older?
Yeah, when you get older.
Really?
Higher.
Yeah,
now I would have had that completely the other way around. I'm in Geordie Shore land where if they're 21, we're obviously going to bone after one Sambuca shot.
Yeah,
but you're saying quite the contrary.
Yeah, quite the contrary. Because I think if you're properly serious about someone when you're in your 20s, you will hold back a bit.
Yeah.
When you're properly serious about someone, say in your 30s, you will have a higher expectation because you can actually have a conversation with the female or the male and say, look, I would kind of like this to happen. No, maybe not tonight, maybe in a couple of days' time, and that's fine. When you're a teenager, it's like, oh my God, I can't talk about this.
What the hell happens if you're in your 60s, hand shander in the disabled toilet before you even get moved? Tom, it actually is that age. So the thing we're fed by media and by the way people talk and people's Instagrams is that everyone in their 20s, things have been broken down, we can just shag straight away Geordie Shore style. And then if I was to start dating now and I was to take a girl out that was between 30 and 35, it's like, fucking forget it, son.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? This is 5 dates minimum. I thought that's what happened.
I don't know. I don't think it's that black and white.
I think it's down to the individual.
Yeah,
I really do, because I always just think.
But if we gathered the stats up and we could, what would they show in your... If you had to guess what the stats would show, AJ, what would they show? An increase in horniness and quickness to the bedroom or a decrease?
I think an increase. Because you're right. I think reality TV has a lot to play in that part, in the sense that it's become a bit more normalised. I've seen people having sex on TV, that is
You're
what
like, get off,
happens
I'm trying to watch Coronation
Do you know
Street.
what I mean? And yeah, you don't even have to watch, you don't even have to like tune into Pornhub to see people.
What's that?
What?
Never heard.
But yeah, you don't have to do that. Yeah, you can literally watch Geordie Shore or Love Island, shows like that. It has become a bit more normalised, and I think in turn, it's if you go on a date, it's not. I think women as well, they're less scared to feel judged. I don't feel like women feel as judged as they did even a decade ago.
Do you think that there's pressure, the Me Too movement, I should say, do you think that's created a wee bit of additional pressure for the younger guy who's trying to...
being worried about doing the wrong thing?
Yeah, doing the wrong thing. Because I think, again, the point I made earlier on, I think you can have a more detailed conversation when you get older.
Yeah.
And you're not likely to be in a situation where she doesn't know what you're talking about. Would that scare a 22-year-old?
I think it probably has made it. I think guys my age may be a bit more cautious, but I don't know if that's a bad thing.
Yeah, I think it's
just
a good
thinking
thing.
just thinking a bit more is got to be a good thing.
Would you be more cautious to ask a girl out in the first place, even using "Excuse me, I would like to respectfully signal. I would like to take you out for dinner." Is even that like?
No, I don't think it's that bad. I just think
just once on the date, you're a bit
just on the date. You just
consent and all that.
Yeah, you just think
not a
more.
bad thing.
Think more before you speak. But that's got to be a good thing.
Surely.
Yeah.
People are, I think, a bit dramatic about. Saying that the whole Me Too thing is like made it really difficult for young guys to. You just don't be an idiot, basically.
Yeah.
It's not.
No.
It's got to be a good thing that you think more.
I do worry you
before.
can't teach someone not to be a bellend. You either know or you don't. There's bellends and non-bellends.
Yeah, but that's always been the case, though, isn't it? I mean,
we're just locking up the bellends now.
Yeah.
At last. Hurrah! So, AJ, just to summarise, if you were going to take a guy out that was 21, let's say you're five dates deep. Let's keep this respectful. You're going to you're 5 dates in. You're 5 dates in with a 41-year-old guy. Who would you expect more nudgy hints from on date 5? If you just had to do it based on your life experience, would you think you're going to have to be dropping the hints to the younger guy or the older guy that you're ready to at least have a snog in a taxi if nothing's happened yet? Who's going to take more pander? By pander, I mean, the way in Edinburgh Zoo they never do it.
I think a 41-year-old.
You think might be more shy?
I think the older guy is a lot more up for it than the younger guy. I really do. Yeah. And reason being is that younger guys are just... I don't know, full of energy, full of vigour, but then are satisfied quicker.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
the older guy,
You better
I think
you better
sometimes
like sunrise if you're coming back to mine, innit? Is that the sun coming up?
I just think
There's no fluid left in his body whatsoever.
A pepperoni with a skull on the top.
I don't know.
Oh, that's really depressing. So,
Do you think that-
I think that,
no, it's not.
Do you think that
No.
like the I don't know if this is the right phrase, but the stakes are higher for older men? Like if you're 42 and you're going on dates with this girl, it's at the age of 42, it's a bit more important. You're not running out of time, but you're at an age where you probably want to settle down and
Maybe
take it a bit
wanna
more
settle
seriously.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe you want to take it a bit more seriously. But in my experience, I did date this guy 10 years older than me, and I was like, you're a mess.
Yeah.
He was a whole heap of mess, that
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
And so I
AJ, you do pick them, don't you?
do you know what I mean? Where's my guy?
I feel like this whole thing is one big advert for AJ.
yeah.
Right, so we're just
It
going to...
always is.
There's just time... Sorry, Gallery, how long have we got left? So how long have we got? Okay. So the other thing that I think is a generational difference between blokes that is less marked with women, if not marked at all, is friends, social group. When I look at my mum, who's 64, sorry mum, she has the same size social group as she had when she had me, when she was in her 20s. Whereas when I look at men in their 60s, they've got one guy they drink a pint of bitter with, if that.
Yeah.
There's nothing left, no dreams, no contact. They barely speak on the phone to their children.
Yeah.
Is that the fate of all men, do you think, Tom?
I think that's true. Well,
Why?
From my dad, like looking at my dad, my dad's like 58 and he's probably got 3 guys he would call mates. But I just think that's quite a normal. I think men I don't know if it's the same with women because my mum's got loads of mates, but I think men, they just sort of every year they drop a couple of
But they're not dying, are they? They just can't
I
be
don't know why.
arsed.
They just men aren't naturally. Maybe this is a bit of a medieval stereotype, but men aren't very good at keeping in touch with people.
Well, I think
It's not a stereotype. Statistically, some of the
But I think
some of the
younger men are
stories
better.
we've seen this month, and some of the bleaker ones in the media, a lot of them are because blokes don't have the wider network. It tails off earlier than you think as well. I think in the 20s, you're probably starting to already reduce down, Tom. You're probably down to like 8 to 10, whereas you were 15 to 20.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
The increase of the bum groove at home on your favourite chair, I think that is a big part to play.
Hang on.
I think it's a big part to play when you're sort of 55, 60. You found your chair.
All right.
You've got your bum groove. It's in there.
Bum groove.
It's your favourite place to be.
Right.
The actual thought of getting up of that chair, talking to another human being, going to a pub is much more dramatic than losing the bum groove. Because you want to sit there, put your feet up, get a beer, watch the TV, go to bed. I think that becomes a thing for older men.
Dangerous, though, isn't it?
It's very dangerous. And my dad's, I think, very similar to yours.
So
I
my
think he's
dad
down to
has-
2 or 3 and
It's
he
fine.
doesn't go out like he used to.
It's fine if you don't have any negative shit in your life, but when something negative hits, if someone's ill or financially, you haven't got
Network.
to support you.
Yeah.
It's so
AJ.
interesting, right? As a woman, because I completely agree with this stat as well. I see it. I've got older brothers. I've seen it. All my guy mates, their friends dramatically reduce. And it does happen with women as well, obviously. But I think this guy that I was seeing, his theory was, because I was like, why didn't you socialise in the room?
Is this
a
the one
little
that was
bit
the
more?
whole heap of mess?
No, he's actually really nice.
Okay.
He was a nice one, actually. I do go
Bloody
out with
hell.
nice guys as well sometimes.
Wow.
Occasionally.
Anyway.
Treat myself to a nice guy from time to time.
There you go.
What happened? Where's it gone? He's gone.
Just don't dig up a patio. Don't know how they got there.
Don't know how I got there, mate. Don't ask any questions.
Yeah, go on. So his theory.
I used to say to him, like, come on, like, have a chat. Like, you're really funny. Like, work the room. And he was just like, I can't bother. I don't want the small talk. He hated small talk.
Yeah.
He loved his 3 guy mates, and that was it. He was like, I know who I like talking to, and that's it. Everything else is just a waste of my time.
Is it primal though? Is it just that men want to be the hunter-gatherer? They want just their family, the wife and the kids, and they want to look after that so specifically that you do that when you're 30, 35, 40, 45. Then the kids start to grow up, and the male mates have done exactly the same as you have, and all of a sudden there's little pools of males everywhere who are on their own rather than being collective.
And
so right.
When you say 3 friends, I don't think we live in this age of Instagram. We've got to have hundreds of friends. I don't think three or four friends is good. If you've got 3 or 4 close friends and you're hanging out, that is plenty.
Yeah.
It's the guys that the wife becomes the best friend. They go into hunter-gatherer mode. Children get older. Sometimes something happens to the wife, and that really is dangerous because all of a sudden you've got a guy completely isolated. You see these men all over the place.
Yeah. I don't know if that will change. I don't know if that, I mean, we can't really tell but my generation, as we get older, I don't know if that will change because it feels like people are a lot more, well, the fact that we're even talking about it.
I'm 37. If I didn't play football, I'm not sure I would have a massive circle of really, really close friends. I have 2 or 3, like you said, but are
they like schoolmates or their friends?
Yeah. 2 or 3 schoolmates and lads I grew up
That's the other weird thing about blokes is they're always mates from like, they never knew mates. It's always from like 50 years ago.
Everywhere we've ever moved, Lindsay becomes friends with someone. She'll become.
It's kind of embarrassing as a man to make a new friend.
That. And how did you make that friend?
Which is the opposite of the false stereotype we have of women, that women are all bitchy and don't support each other, and yet wherever I go, girls are always making friends, and guys are in, I don't husband. I don't really speak to him, like boring twat. He does the same as a living for you, Rob. That's like I can't be bothered. And that's the men sort of close down.
Do you not think that men are like, if you put sort of 2 girls and 2 guys together, it's more likely that the guys are going to get on than the girls are going to get on?
That's the stereotype, but it's very often not true.
I think it's always the girls.
Yeah,
because
that's the way it would be put done in a sitcom or a drama. But in real life, you bet my wife, it's just within seconds. There's common ground and they're talking, and if the guy's got something with you like stand up or an interest in literature or
that's why it always comes
sport.
back to football, isn't it?
Yeah,
man? That's why football's such.
That's why I'm in such danger. No sport knowledge or sport skill at all.
But I feel like that is why football is such a big thing for men, because it's like a universal. Well, we don't know each other. We can talk about this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Should we not then, if you don't know each other that well, should you not open up a little bit more?
We should, but you
because you're not going to be judged. Well, you will going to be judged, but you may not see this person again.
Is that what have you ever had like a conversation with someone, like a taxi driver, for example, and it's like 20 minutes, but you go so deep
Incredibly honest
because you know you're never going to see them again.
You are spot on.
So you really open up to them because you're like, there's no consequence to this. I'm getting out of your taxi in 20 minutes.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Honestly, every single Uber driver has been my therapist.
Has anyone told a taxi driver anything deep before that?
Oh yeah.
I've told him everything. When you get into taxis, sometimes at your happiest or most vulnerable, like all of the occasions you're on your way to a wedding or you're on your way to a funeral or like, I'll never forget, I got into this taxi crying once because my mate didn't invite me to his wedding, and I was gutted, and literally this taxi journey was like 90 minutes long and I just did not stop for that 90 minutes. That poor guy.
He retired after that journey.
It's the getting in. I find getting in, if I've had some sort of falling out, Barney, or just a little bit of an argument with my other half, you tend to get into the taxi passenger seat and you go, and then the taxi driver goes, hey, you all right? You go, listen. And then you start.
I remember being in a taxi in New York going to the airport, and this guy telling me that he was thinking about getting a divorce with his wife. And
taxi driver told you this?
Yeah, and we had this like hour-and-a-half chat on the way to the airport where he told me about his marriage and it's not going well, and I want to get divorced. We've got 2 kids, and like we really like got into it.
It's mad, isn't it?
Yeah.
I got into a taxi once. I literally wrote an apology letter for the taxi driver to his wife. He told me this ridiculous, most extravagant story where his wife had caught him cheating and his wife had kicked him out of the house, stopped him seeing the kids. He was a mess. He was like a shell of a man. I was like, but mate, you fucked up. So this is what happens. And he was like, I know, but I'm really sorry. Like, I'm gagging. I need to see her. What do I say? What do I say?
Yeah.
And I was like, have you tried calling her? And he was like, she won't speak to me. I was like, well, you're going to have to write a letter.
Give me my quill and paper.
Yeah, so literally, I'm telling him what to write. And then he literally, like, went into the glove compartment.
Like, obviously, your voice, babe, you've been, like, really inappropriate. Like,
Literally. I was like, I can't believe
like,
it.
oh, fuck, this isn't your voice. Ew, I tell you what, like, really bad stuff's been done and that.
What a letter. And it sounded just like that.
Right, well, I think we're out of time. That's absolutely awesome. That's it for Boys Don't Cry this week. Thanks to our friends at ASOS and to my guests, Tom, Lucy, Connor Phillips and AJ Odudu. Good luck on your quest for the D. Maybe go to the D Orchard and harvest dirt. Don't forget we're a podcast and a YouTube show. Leave us a review or a comment if you like. And if you're single, just hit up AJ's Instagram. She's looking for dick. Thank you for watching Boys Don't Cry with Russell Kane, brought to you by Joe, together with ASOS.